my channel. This is Nina from the Forgotten Bookshop Girl, and I'm going to finally show you how I finished this journal. I've got one problem. When I was starting to edit this whole video, I realized that one part is missing. I don't know what I've done with that little snippet of video. As you might remember, I had a kind of like update of things I was had been getting up to, where I did try the jelly mat printing without actually a mat, and so I've got kind of like a few other ideas. And I had this idea of using the inside of a ordinary coffee bag and use that as the cover for a journal. And I think I got as far as having glued the kind of the silver one, so the actual bag, so I cut it open and glued it onto some sort of brown cardstock, and was then talking about probably using image transfers or packing tape image transfers on the front and the back. But then the part where I'm actually going one step further and putting and sort of like choosing the packing tape transfers and getting my sewing machine out, that part is missing, so I don't know where it is. So basically all I had done in that part was to choose the packing tape transfers, then put them on the cover. I would have cut the cover to size, and I think then I also rounded the corners at that point. I didn't actually film the sewing process because I didn't want the video to be too long, and I also think because one part of the video it is actually quite long, and I don't know if I can shorten it enough, so I might do this in 2 stages, because otherwise it will also going to take about like a week to upload. So I'll do that. But anyway, in a moment, the next stage you're going to see is I think I've already done, yeah, that part where I finished the sewing, and I'm just explaining to you what I have been doing with all the sewing. So there is, as I said, it's like one piece missing, but I think it's still possible to follow this video. Okay, I hope you enjoy my process. Okay, so I'm back. What I've done here, as I said, I used my sewing machine. I didn't want to bore you with me at the sewing machine, and you know, I would have had to get the tripod out and stuff, and I was just a bit too lazy to do that. But anyway, you can see I've been sewing kind of like round. First of all, I did sew around the edge of the cover, and then I put the front image on and just did sew around it. I thought maybe I could kind of like a frame use one of the more decorative stitches, but then this happened. I destroyed a sewing needle, so I thought, you know what, I'll just go for the straight stitch. So I attached this, then I did the same at the back, and then because that kind of looked a bit empty, I just kind of like created lots of little, that's the dog in the background tap dancing, created little frames, and then did kind of like another one around the image. And you know, I'm kind of quite pleased with the outcome, but and I really like the patterns that I created on the inside, but it's too silver for me. I know this sounds really silly, but you know, in a way I'm thinking, oh, you know what, I would have really liked to have those images on this lovely brown background rather than on the silver. So I think it's one of the problems is that, you know, I just love everything that looks more vintage and worn and all the brown colours. So that is kind of too, in a way too, you know, in a way too modern for me. So I'm going to leave it here for now because I have to get some dinner done, and I think the dog is telling me that she needs to go for a quick walk. But I'll definitely finish this one. I'll put some pages in here. And as I said, it's an experiment to see what can be done. I have to say it was quite tricky to sew because the sewing machine couldn't really get the grip on this shiny surface, so that was a bit tricky. One thing I think I would really like to do is use my packing tape transfers and just, you know, do it the other way around and have them on a different background and use them possibly for notebook covers. I have done that before, and I think I would like to do more of those. And then I could possibly turn this into just a sketchbook that I could just have, because I wanted to just have a very simple sketchbook in my bag that I could just, you know, pull out and do some sketching when I'm out and about. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. So that means that I'll just have white paper in it. Normally I would have coffee dyed paper in it, but But if it's supposed to be a sketchbook, maybe just white paper. Well, I'll think about it. I'll leave you here, and we'll have a second part to this notebook. I would be really interested in what you think about the idea. Do you feel similarly about the silver? And if you kind of have more, you know, if you're more into vintage things, that you find it difficult to go for colours that aren't that vintage, but then at the same time I think it's kind of important to you know, to do something a little bit different, even if you realise that you don't like it in the end. Something else might come out of it, and just to, you know, just to experiment. But yeah, I still think that she looks quite nice with a silver background, so that's okay. Anyway, I'll leave you here, and I'll carry on with this but hopefully tomorrow, and just finish this so I've got both parts, and then we can see where this is going. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye. Okay, finally an update. I'm going to put all of my updates into one video and then upload it rather than all the little bits. And I don't even know what I was talking about. In the last video I was talking about this. I should have watched that before I'm starting. But anyway, the next stage would be putting some paper in the notebook. And when I was kind of like looking at paper and thinking about paper, I realized that this is a really stupid format, because whenever I use paper in notebooks, I quite like to do it in a way that I have as little offcuts as possible, to kind of like to make the most of the paper available. So if we're looking at this, you know, if I fold this in half, we can see that this is too long, so I would have to cut something off here, and I have to cut something off at the bottom. And I know it's not that much, but I still feel it's a waste of paper. So if I went this way, so if I cut this in half and then folded it this way, you know, that would work. But, you know, kind of the notebook is bigger than that, and that is in a way a little bit silly, I suppose. I don't know. However, as I thought that this is a total experiment, but I want to be able to use this, and I have to say it kind of grew on me. You know, at first I thought this is too silver, this is too modern, but by just having it kind of like lying around between all my stuff, I started liking it, and I thought, okay, how about I use it for something really practical? So don't go overboard with the pages. That's why I've got just white paper, kind of like, no, coffee dyed paper. I know, crazy, right? But just white paper in there, and then use it. I had one idea and then I forgot what I wanted to use it for, but maybe have it more as a kind of like an ongoing project book, kind of things, you know, things I need to work on, like not like a bullet journal. I've got a bullet journal, but a little bit more specific, where I can just scribble something in and then just, you know, cross it out. And I had an idea what I wanted to use it for. It'll come back, I think. And so it made total sense to have it in a very simple way where I don't get distracted by the beautiful pages. So it would be a completely different concept. This would be more to kind of assist my brain to get things done and have it really simple. Also, so I don't feel like, oh, but I need to write, you know, in a really nice way, or I need to do this. This is just really practical. So I feel that with white paper, I can achieve that and do this. So then I thought, how about I put try and put more than one signature in there. So to have, okay, let me just do this. Shall I do all of that? Shall I just quickly, yeah. Shall I just quickly cut the paper, because then I've got my paper ready, and what I should have done is talk and get the paper ready. That's what I should have done. Okay, so let's just do that very quickly. I want to cut this in half, like that. Is it all lined? It's not really lined up, is it? What is it? Oh, is it? It's okay. Okay. And if it's not, it's okay. It's not important. Okay, so let's just grab a couple of pages. So I thought, okay, I want to make the most of the paper, so I will be going for this size. And I know this looks a little bit silly in here. But it's okay. And also what I thought, let's just do it quickly, I could maybe have more paper in there, but to do that I would need to have kind of like more than one signature, so it's even more experimenting. Let's just do that. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Do that very quickly. Also, I've got, I really wanted to carry on with this video and just, you know, do it today so I can finally edit it and upload it. But I've got my dog already telling me that she wants to go for a walk. But I thought, you know, if I did that first, and then I would probably go and have lunch, and then all of a sudden I would be so distracted that I wouldn't get around to doing this. Okay, and I've already been filming a new class. I've been working on another tutorial, so I'm in the filming mode, so I find it easier to then carry on. Anyway, so let's just think, if I had 3 signatures in here, then I know, because I've never done that before, kind of sew the 3 signatures into the spine. I know I've already folded this, so I would have to kind of like refold it, I assume. I was even thinking about maybe gluing something on here kind of at the back to strengthen it. That makes sense. I should have looked up some videos on YouTube, right? So the idea is to have like 1 signature in the middle, and then kind of like one here where this seam is, and then another one about there, so that the spine is then you know, wider, and then I can have those all in here. I know this is still still looks a bit long, but I thought what I could do is almost like have different chapters. So if the three signatures, or who knows, even four, I don't know, if those were kind of like different chapters, I could have tabs here, or I could have maybe, let's have a look, if I could have something like, you know, have them as a divider, have, oh, that would actually be quite cool. So if I had something like sort of coloured paper as a divider, and then I know like one could be just kind of like any new ideas where I could write out, oh, ideas for tutorials for YouTube. So the one could be just ideas, and then the second one could be, you know, planning on when I'm going to film them, or in what, you know, kind of that sort of thing, where I've got different chapters where I'm working on different things, but they're still in the same book, and I could have little tabs and they could be longer, and because the paper is shorter, they wouldn't stick out. So I thought I'll do that. Getting really excited about this. And then it doesn't really matter that this is too big, because I want to use it, but I don't want to have to cut paper to the right size. Also, that would take longer, and then have all these offcuts. I would use them, but it still doesn't really work for me. Or I still kind of like don't feel it's right to do it that way. So okay, so what I'm going to do now is cut more paper, look for, I think, some coloured paper, because that would, I think that looks quite nice anyway, to have kind of like, you know, have that. I quite like that. And I could even write something in there, or there could be an index, and I could have numbers on the pages. Oh my goodness, that sounds almost too organised. So I can do that, and once I've got all that sorted, and I know roughly what I'm going to do, I'll get back, and then I can do the sewing and film it. So that's the next thing. Okay, I think I should take the dog for a walk now. Right, this feels like 100 years later, but I thought I'll finally finish this. I've been filming my next Skillshare class most of the day, and I just felt I needed a break, and so this is a nice break for me, because I can just chat and don't really have to think too much about like sort of kind of like a proper script, and just take, you know, not just rambling. So expect a lot of rambling. So anyway, I can't even quite remember where I left off in the last video. So what I've done, I've just strengthened this area of the spine and just put another kind of like a thinner craft paper on top, because I have decided I'm going to put kind of like 4 sections or 4 signatures into this notebook, and I thought I will go with the kind of like intersection things, so they've got kind of like all different colours, so in a way it's like having 4 different little notebooks in one cover. And I've just taken some scrap paper, and I'm going to have some pockets with those. I'll just, oh hang on, let's just go quickly through them. So this one is going to have a pocket here. I haven't quite decided if I'm just going to just glue the bottom part on so I can kind of like slide things in there like this. Then this one doesn't have a pocket. This one has, well, not really a pocket, kind of like a tuck spot at the front. So I'll probably glue this at the top and the bottom so I can stick things in here. And the last one has a pocket on the outside, and then I haven't quite decided if I want to just, again, just glue it here or even make it a kind of like a bigger pocket where you have these little folded things in there like the Leuchtturm. I hope that makes sense, like an accordion thingy that goes in there and then it goes, you know, you can open it or something. So I don't know, so I'm not gluing it yet. So basically the next thing I need to do is decide where the holes go. If it was just the one signature, it would be really easy because I would just eyeball it, but because it's 4, I want to be a little bit more precise. So what I've done, I've worked out where they need to kind of like sit in the middle. So I'll just finish the pencil line here. And then I should probably make a template, I think, and I should maybe use this, I suppose, so I can make sure it's a straight line. There you go, and I'll just draw a line along here and also at the bottom. There you go. And then this is, I don't know if you can see this line, this is kind of the middle of the book. So I can almost follow my my seam lines in there. So I want to have like one notebook, or let's call it one signature. Kind of, how wide is that? Is that about, because I think maybe a centimetre would be too far away. Let's have a look. Because I don't really, I think something like that is okay, and that's not quite a centimetre. Is it about 6 millimeters? Don't ask me about inches. Not a clue. Or 5. If that was 5, I'm just trying to work out how much space they would need, because I've never done anything like this where I actually sew individual signatures to the spine. So I'm just playing around, but like, yeah, I think 5 millimeters seems okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So if I can do both sides at the same time. Here. And there. And there. And do one here. I'll probably kind of like pause the video in a second so you don't have to watch all of this. So that would be the first 2 lines for the middle signatures. I need to sew them on, and then I'll do, I guess, I'm guessing, kind of like another 5 millimeters from there, and that's where the next ones would go. I'm just wondering if, no, because would that be, make it, I was just wondering, oh, how about I just sew them in and then make the next lines, but that could be quite tricky because I've already got the signatures in. Hope that makes sense. Shall we just go for it and just see what happens? Let's do that. Okay, so I'll need another 5, or just have a look. Okay, so if I've got them all together and I'm lining them up, I feel if they were there, I think that actually looks quite good. Just feels like I should leave more space, but I don't think I do. And also, if it doesn't work, then I'll know for next time, won't I? So I do this again. Okay. Right, now, think, do I want 3 holes or 5? I would probably normally just go for 3. So maybe just go for 3. This is the thread I'm going to use. It's linen, and I dyed it with black ink, printer ink, the remains of printer ink that was still in the cartridge. I thought that would look, that the colour would work, and then also I get a use for this. Yeah, 3. Okay. So again, elbow. So I need the middle now here, so that's 16. Well, that would be 8. And then we have the middle. So then that would be our first hole there. This is definitely wider. Why? Yeah, it's a bit wider. It doesn't matter. Let's just leave it. Let's leave it. And then, yeah. Thing is now, I actually do need a template, because if I'm going to stick, if I'm going to stick this here, obviously I need the template to go in there so I know what I'm actually doing. Okay, hang on, I'll just quickly make a template and I'll be back. Okay, this is where I'm going to stop with the first video, and then if you want to carry on watching what happens next, I'll have another video. I'll try and upload both of them roughly around the same time, but I'll definitely upload this one first and then the second one, so I'll try and not leave too big a gap, and I'll put links to both videos, and I'll also link to the original video where I was talking about what I'm going to do, what I was hoping to do with this, and talking about the idea of using a coffee bag as a journal cover.